Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome back to 10 Count. I'm Steve Fault, but today I am honored and I am privileged to talk to Brandi Rhodes. How are you today?
I am awesome, Steve. How are you doing?
I am doing great. I just had a baby about a month ago,
Yay!
so the world is topsy-turvy. I already had two other kids as well, so now I got three. It's like a
Oh,
family
wow.
sitcom over here.
Oh, congratulations to you. So you had, what did you just have? And then what did you already have?
So I had a baby girl named Dakota, and she is beautiful. She's healthy. She's wonderful. And then I have a son named Dylan. I have a daughter named Delilah. 6, 3, I guess zeros. So there we go. It is a journey over here, but obviously you have your hands full over there with just Cody. I mean your baby too, but
Well, yeah, Cody's the bigger handful for sure.
I imagine. But thank you so much for being here on 10 Count because if nobody knows, I have chased, I have clawed, I have made my way to this interview, and finally we're here to talk about your brand new podcast, Two Lies and One Truth. Now, what inspired you to even create this? Because obviously there's so many opportunities for you, but this is a different thing.
So, I have not been a big podcast person. I never really listened to podcasts. Just no interest. I'm a music person, so when I'm in the car, I've got my music on. When I'm in the gym, I've got my music on. But one day, I don't even know what happened. I was driving one day, and I guess Spotify popped up a podcast, and I
Mm,
was like, what's this?" And I listened to it, and the podcast is called "Do You Effing Mind?" It's
okay.
actually the word, but I don't know if I can say it on your.
You can say anything you want.
Okay. So I was intrigued by that, and I dialed it up, and then I kept listening and listening and listening over and over. So I was like, there's something really cool to this podcast thing. And what I found the most interesting was the host was very well versed in the topic she was talking about, but
Mm,
very casual about everything too. So, and being a recent parent and everything, I feel like I've daily gaining just a plethora of knowledge in the parenting department. And so I thought it would be nice to just share some of the stuff that I'm learning and then talk to other people and get their experiences.
mm.
Because as you know, we all have very different experiences. We all come from all walks of life, but the same thing seems to be that we love our kids and we want to do the best that we can for them.
Yep.
So it's very lighthearted. Everybody gets different topics to talk about. We do try to be educational in a sense by talking about some factual things versus non-factual things where the two lies and one truth come in. And it's really fun. And so far, I've been really pleasantly surprised at how open people have been. And we've got a lot more cool stuff to come.
Awesome. Now, I have seen some of your episodes so far, and you've had Shaq, you've had Peyton Royce, you've had Titus O'Neil. Do you have the next guest lined up? Who's it going to be?
Yes. Yes. And I'll go ahead and tell you. So my next guest, which is going to be, depending on when this airs, it should be the next guest,
Yes.
is Lacey Evans,
Oh,
who is a really, really cool uh, look at a parent. I don't want to spoil anything, but I did not know what all lengths Lacey went to be a mom and a WWE superstar and a former Marine and all of the stuff that her and her husband do on the home front. And it's very enlightening. It actually made me feel like a shell of a human with everything that she's able to do. And she didn't even look tired. And I was like, well, I'm really tired today and I didn't do much. So yeah, it's a fun one. Also, I don't know if you know Lacey, but she's very unfiltered. So I love that.
yes. I did do. I was on a family vacation, and the WWE called me, and they're like, "We Lacey Evans, want to talk to her?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." But like, I'm on a family vacation, so like, I was siphoning Wi-Fi off of like random places at an ice cream shop with my family on the side. Look, I'm like, just sit over there for a second. But she had her baby with her. She had her baby for the interview. It was so funny because she pops up and she's holding her baby in front of the Zoom first, and I'm like, Lacey Evans. There's a baby talking to me. But yeah, she was very open, very nice, very kind, talking about her upbringing and her struggles to make it to where she is now. What an inspirational story for her as well, because some people who start off in a different environment don't get out of that environment. They stay in it forever, and it becomes a cycle, and you never get out of it, and your children stay in that cycle. It's, it's unfortunate, but she has a story to share, and hopefully she's inspiring others as well. But like, where can we find your podcast? Now, obviously I've seen your podcast on YouTube. Are you producing audio versions of this as well?
Yes, I'm on Spotify and Apple as well. So pick your poison. If you want to watch the video, find us on YouTube. If not, pick your favorite platform and we're on it.
Do you have a dream guest? Because obviously you're well connected in the wrestling world, the entertainment world, but like, is there someone that you're trying to crawl and get and have on your show?
Yes. So I am a really big Peloton fan.
Okay.
I love Peloton. So I'm chasing some Peloton instructors right now. Hopeful that that I will get them, because Peloton is, everybody seems to have some sort of like in with Peloton these days, and they're opening up much more. They were like a real closed ship for a while, where it was like, you can't do anything other than just, do our routines. And then it's like they got the tread, and then all of a sudden now it's like, boom, our people are available, and yes, you can talk, and yes, you can come on. And so so particularly looking for Jess King at the moment, because she's pregnant.
There was I remember when the pandemic first happened, it was like everyone was like, I'm locked in my house, I need to buy a Peloton and learn how to make bread. That seemed like the two things everyone was doing, making bread while on a Peloton, which is not, I would not condone at all. But those two things feel like everywhere we were seeing them. But also, when are we going to see you on like a national wrestling program? Because obviously you were involved with WWE, AEW. We're all waiting for your next step. When is that next step?
I am very big on, I'm the one that's very big in the family on not saying absolutes. As we know, my husband likes to say absolutes, and then, life happens. But I'm not going to say absolutes, but I will say right now, it's not in my plan. I kind of did myself a good service, I think, in taking a beat. My number one priority when everything happened and, we left AEW, my number one priority in all of that was making sure that my husband's dream was realized, because, hey, it's been a dream that's been in the making for him since he was 4 years old. So I think it's a good thing that, you press forward and we've got to see this through. I was kind of always on the back burner in that sense, and working on other things. I've got Shot of Brandi out there in the ether. I started doing this podcast, and I do have some other things that are cooking in the non-wrestling world. So in that period of time, I got to spend a lot of time with my daughter. I got to watch her develop in these unexpected ways and find these different things that she's really thriving at and really liking. And I wanted to really be a part of it. So when I look at life in wrestling, there's the inevitable travel. And it's the choice that you have to make, that you're going to travel with your child or not. And then if I were to travel with my child, I'm taking her away from some of the environments that she's used to now, and that, I'm seeing her thrive in. So I won't say no, it's not going to happen, but I will say that right now, it's not front of mind for me.
All right. Now, have you spoken to either Tony Khan since your exit, or even spoken with Triple H? Obviously, your husband works with the WWE, so both different companies, but like obviously your relationship with both of them is completely different. Have you spoken to Tony Khan since your exit?
No, I have not spoken to Tony since my exit. And I have not spoken to Hunter. I've spoken to Stephanie. I spoke to Vince back at that point in time. Right. I saw Hunter at WrestleMania, so I guess I did speak to Hunter. I said hi. But as far as in a professional sense, no. I have not spoken to Hunter. Yeah.
So when I told some people I was going to interview you, I don't know if you've heard of Victor Perry. He's an amazing school teacher, and he has this after-school wrestling club where he shows, matches for 6th graders and 7th graders, and they absolutely adore you. So when I said I was going to talk to you, they went buck wild. They wanted to ask you a question. I have it right here from Kip Amp Middle School. They're gonna be pumped.
Okay.
They're gonna be pumped hearing you talk about them. This is their question. This is from 6th and 7th graders, by the way. When I was in 6th and 7th grade, I was like, "What's for lunch today?" They're like writing down deep questions for you. So here we go. What has been the most valuable lesson you've learned as a Black businesswoman in the world of pro wrestling, and how, excuse me, and how has that helped you move forward with your next career goals?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
The
6th
number
graders.
one thing that I have learned in wrestling is whatever has happened, you cannot take it with you. You have to leave it where it happened and you have to let it go. No matter what it was, no matter how wrong it seemed or how many, receipts you have, or you have to let it go. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to move forward and thrive where you're supposed to thrive. That took some time. I will not lie. That took some time. It's not a secret or a mystery that the wrestling landscape can be very difficult for women to navigate. And I was a woman who was in a role that was not traditional for women in the industry. Add to that I'm Black, and whew, makes it real tough. And someone's wife too. That doesn't help either. A lot of times, people feel some kind of way about that, and you kind of have to rise above it and do what you do best. But inevitably in all forms of life, when you make the decision to move on from something, there's reasons. They're not always the best reasons. They're not always reasons that you say, oh, well, it just was time, or, oh, I just felt like I outgrew it. Sometimes the reasons that are sticky and painful and things that you can't really wrap your head around. But you have to wrestle with it, and you have to let it go. So it can't be, a year from now, someone brings up something and it's like, oh yeah, I remember that's what happened to me. I remember that's what was said to me. No, you have to just move on. And I made that a real point for myself with Liberty, because I don't want her to ever see anything that I did as anything other than a learning thing. My mom, I get very angry for, and always have gotten very angry for my mom over a lot of incidences, because she was honest with me throughout life and through her career and everything. And it literally made me want to strangle people at times. I don't want Liberty wanting to strangle anybody for me. I want her to be happy and know that I'm happy and see that. And when you see that, that seals the deal.
So the things you just brought up must have been very difficult for you, obviously, because you're trying to be a big supporter of AEW when you were there and your role, but you just said you were a wrestler's wife. So like everyone probably says, even if you have all these degrees and all these backgrounds and doing all these great things, people are probably still going, she's only here because of these reasons. And like, how does that make you feel? Because obviously you know that you're good at your job, but yet there must have been like whispers about that towards you, and you must have got those whispers back to you. Like, how does it make you feel?
It's expected. So if you let it make you feel some kind of way, then it's kind of on you. But a lot of times we go into things with rose-colored glasses, that everybody's friends, and that it's all going to be sunny and happy.
Yeah.
And very quickly you realize, no, that's not the case. So you kind of just have to let that stuff roll off. And the work that I was able to do in that position was the payoff. So if someone thought, well, hey, she shouldn't be here because of X, Y, and Z. Well, this is a business deal that I actually created that plenty of people are, benefiting from and thriving from. So that checks the box that I'm doing the right thing, and this is the right thing for me. People can, they can think whatever they want. I'm not here to tell anybody what they can or can't think.
Right.
But if I let that get to me, that's on me.
Of course, it's just I imagine that again, like the list of accomplishments that you pulled off, a community outreach program that was created underneath your banner I thought that was amazing, because you were going everywhere you could when you were local to events, and I thought that was a great movement. So I always was shocked of how much Twitter gave you hate, which was strange, because it's like Twitter's not the real world, and I think people on Twitter believe it's the real world, but that's like this much of wrestling fans. When you go to a live event and you see a little girl, a little boy booing and cheering the good guys, the bad guys, warms my heart and makes me feel good when I bring my kids to wrestling, versus I would never be like, hey kids, want to read a really mean tweet about Brandi? Like, no,
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. So obviously Twitter, I probably imagine was not being very kind to you as well. But at the same time, you just said let it roll off kind of your back, because if you let that affect you, then it's probably going to affect you emotionally and mentally.
Yeah, and it's like that for everyone. When it happens to you, it feels like it's just you.
Mm,
But if you do pay attention and look across the landscape, I mean, like someone who is in the same kind of role, Stephanie McMahon,
yes.
she catches a lot for only trying to help, So,
Yeah.
and that's just the nature of the beast. That's the nature of social media. I honestly think it's kind of why it's there. We're these kind of faux figures that if you sling mud at us, we're not real, so it's not going to stick. So you kind of have to think of it that way, even though I am a real person. And if I allow it to, yes, something like that can really stick. But most of the time when I see stuff that people say that I'm just kind of like, what on earth is that? I have to think like, to this person, I'm not real. I'm not like his sister or his aunt, that he can tangibly have a conversation with and get to know and talk to. I'm just a figurehead. So I just don't take it personally. When
Right.
somebody used to say a lot of times, it was Darren Young. He used to always say, I can't take it personally if I don't know you personally. And that was a great statement, because it's so true, especially in the world of social media. We don't know each other, and it's so easy to form opinions, and you say whatever, and that's fine. But again, if I take it personally, it's kind of on me, because I don't know you either.
That's true. That's a good point. As I started talking to wrestlers or media or entertainment or bands or musicians, it's come to my conclusion of like, these are real people. The people you see on TV, the Undertaker is not a dead zombie man building caskets on the side for shits and giggles. Like, he is a real person. So like it took a long time for even myself and a lot of people, I think, when you see someone in the airport, say you walk into the airport at 6 a.m. after you've done a weekend of work, and someone's like, give me an autograph, give me an autograph. It's like, were you the same person who said I was a piece of crap on Twitter yesterday? like, like that's nuts. But when we were talking about you being on national TV again, you had a reality show, Road to the Top. Is that still being developed? Could that be pitched somewhere else? Because I think it was a success.
So again, I'm gonna not say I'm not doing that anymore, but I will say I liked it for what it was then.
Ah,
However, now, coming into this phase of life, Liberty's older. My husband is on the chase of a lifetime. He's kind of on this ride of a lifetime. I don't think it fits
mm,
to do that. Maybe in the future, something like that would be a fit. But right now, I just really don't think it is. I think that as far as wrestling is concerned, for me, the most intriguing story is Cody trying to capture this dream. And, it's been so fantastic. Except for the injury portion, but it's just been really great to see him reconnect with this audience, kind of be completely welcomed back home, coming back to WWE, and them to have his back in this journey. It's really, really fun to see, and I'm excited for him to get back, not only for that, but because he needs to go back to work.
oh, yeah. I was gonna say I'm home right now with my entire family because of my benefits. I get to be home for 4 months straight, which is great. But at the same time, you are home with your family for 4 months, so
Yeah.
it's a little. I love you so much, but maybe go outside for a few minutes. Give me some air.
Well, he
How
loves wrestling. He needs to wrestle. It's in his blood. It's part of his makeup. But no, he's been great through all of this, and all of the work that he's been doing to get back has been really good. I went with him to his physical therapist yesterday to finally see, because he's been ragging on me the entire time. You haven't come. You haven't come. You haven't come.
Oh,
So I was like, okay, I'm coming to see. And I was really, really, really just impressed with how he looks now. He doesn't look like anything happened, which is
oh,
crazy
good.
because he had major surgery. So he looks like the same Cody to me. The muscle mass is all there. He looks ready to me. But I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you. He's
I was
ready
gonna
to go.
say, is he ready to go? Because I think everyone wants him. The hopeful feelings is Cody wins Royal Rumble, beats Roman Reigns, for both belts, WrestleMania, hold them over his head, fireworks in the sky, drones making a giant Cody image in the sky holding the belt. That's what we want. Is that what we're going to get?
From your lips to God's ears, let's hope, right?
Let's hope. Now, obviously, my wife I love so much, but she only really shows concern when like I'm hurt, and then when she's showing concern when I'm hurt, I'm like, oh, I must be really hurt if she's showing concern. So that Hell in the Cell match, when he shows up and takes off his robe and his arm and his chest, looks like someone just threw paint on him. That must have been tough. As a wife, he's also your best friend too. You seeing him look like this, and you're like, oh my God, like what was going through your mind? Did he explain to you before, like, don't worry, everything's fine, honey? Or like, holy crap, this could get worse?
Well, everything wasn't fine.
Of course.
I knew that
Yeah.
going in, and thankfully, I have seen people with the injury before, so I knew that the chest was going to turn black and blue. It was really probably the worst that I've ever seen it, but I at least knew that that was what we were going to be looking at, something to that degree. But for me, I know that as athletes, we always want to work through the pain. So I was just concerned with how much pain were we working through, especially when we know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Like, it's like, hey, just get through this, and then you're going to you're going to have surgery and you're going to feel so much better. So you're just like, okay, well, here goes everything. So I was just really, concerned that he wasn't putting himself through too much. But I knew that, there was no arguing him wrestling that match. I gave my blessing on it because, like, why have an argument that I can't win anyway? So might as well give my blessing and, just hope for the absolute best. And I think the best is what happened there. I mean, get the W and go into surgery.
Oh my God. That's the reaction of the audience. Once he took that robe off and everyone kind of went hush, like usually you'd be like, oh no, there was like, oh my. Like,
yeah, it's pretty dreadful. Yeah, it's pretty dreadful looking. But yeah, I think
wow.
that just kind of gave everybody the same anticipation over that match and kind of like, what is actually going to happen here? No one wants to see anybody get hurt worse, but there was always that possibility. So
I guess so, but like, what's that? Well, what, the bruise is going to go onto his face and his legs? Like, that was such an intense moment. That's like a Halloween costume that they should produce next year for the WWE. Like, would you like to dress up as Cody Rhodes, injured at Hell in the Cell? Well, now you can buy this, little kids. Like,
well, it actually did go down into his like side, so it was all the way down, all the way through like his side and abdomen and everything. Yeah, it was gnarly.
oh my God. I guess, I think it was maybe you who tweeted it out that was like, I can't wait to show, your baby this image of their father being so like defiant and not letting go of this moment, because it was such a big moment to build to. We get here and imagine, it's an injury. People obviously get injured. It's not ballet, but like the idea of, oh, he can't wrestle because he's injured, to be like, oh, that sucks. But like, if they showed a picture of that, be like, oh, that's okay with me, man. But like, how inspirational is that for, I guess, all dads to want to go out there and show to their kids, like, it's okay. Like, we can work through the pain, and don't worry, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Like, that must be pretty awesome to feel that your husband is willing to go out there and do that for all the fans who are on this new journey with him, getting to become the new world champion in the WWE.
Yeah, I think that I tweeted that because I've been an athlete my entire life, as has Cody, and these are some hard lessons that you learn. I remember skating one time with my ankles wrapped with like a pound of tape on each side, and they were bleeding through it, but I couldn't miss the competition. So it was the most painful thing that I think I've ever done, besides wrestle with a broken collarbone in Japan. Let's not talk about that again. But
we can talk about it if you want to talk about it again.
Let's not. It was rough. We're good now, though. I'm okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but you have these defining moments where it's like, okay, is this worth it? And why is this worth it to me? What does it mean to me? And when you're able to push through and do these things and look back on it and, smartly within reason. Now, things are extremely dire. Obviously, you don't want to put yourself through some incredible risk, but if it's something that's just a matter of gritting your teeth and going ahead and showing up with what you've worked so hard for, that is what I would want her to do. And I already know she's going to be an Olympic athlete. We're just deciding what category are we going to be in now. Is it swimming? Is it figure skating? Is it gymnastics? Soccer maybe. She's a really good, like today at a little class that I take her to, she kicked a goal. Like I've never seen that before. She was kicking around a soccer ball and there was a goal post and she kicked it right in. And I was like, wow, okay. But yeah, so obviously I think she's got the bones for being an athlete, hopefully, in some sense. So we'll see what happens, but I will definitely refer to that anytime that she's like, well, I just can't do it, which we all do at some point.
Of course. That'd be so funny. I can't do it. Well, look at your father. Look at your father. Do you see this? It's all, oh, Mom, don't show me that. It's funny you bring up soccer. I've been bringing my son, 3 years old, to soccer, little kickers. And yeah, it would be like the other day we were playing and he kicked a goal in 2. And I was just like, this is brilliant. Like he's going to be a star, I tell you. But isn't that funny too? Obviously with kids, you're like, you will be this, or I believe your personality will be that. Like there's no way to determine what a little ball of baby or child will turn out to be. It's so strange to watch my daughter play at a playground with kids. I'm like, should I go over there and play with her? No, I want to see what she does with these kids. But should I go over there and play with her? No, I'm okay. Like, is it strange to be like the helicopter parent or to be like the standoff parent for you?
I am doing so much better than I ever I would do as a parent. I'm pretty reserved, which is weird. And I feel like I come across a little weird too, because I'm just quiet and I kind of stand back and let her do her thing. And she's doing a lot of activities right now. I'm in a weird overload. I kind of feel like I decided for 2023, we need to kind of focus and dial it back a little bit, because everything I hear about, I'm like, yes, dance, swimming, music, whatever, let's get in all of it.
Yes.
So I have been really good in seeing things happen, because things happen and because these kids are all learning at the same time. I had an incident where she was in a little jump, like trampoline, small, like for toddlers situation. And I only put her in it because no one was in it. And then this kid came and made a beeline and didn't see her and plowed through her. And it was a moment where I was like, 1,000. You're okay. You're okay. It was an accident. Like, but I was kind of like for a second, like, where's your person? Like,
yes.
what happened here?
Yes.
But yeah, but those frustrating things happen. And I am admittedly a hothead about everything, about my dogs, everything, anything that means anything to me, I'm a hothead about it. So I'm very pleasantly surprised and proud of myself in how much grace I have in the kid's capacity, because she's been knocked down, she's fallen down, someone's come up and taken her thing, and she's really good too, though. She's a good sharer. She doesn't get mad when people take her stuff. She just goes and gets something else.
I was gonna say, my son is not a good sharer. Nah, it's like, you're playing with something, some kid grabs it and you see like, it's like these eyebrows suddenly go like this and you're like, uh-oh, it's happening. That's so funny you bring up the thing about the kid plowing over you, because it's like, yeah, something happens and you immediately go into like this weird like judgment mode for a second. You're like, I would never let this happen. And then it like eventually happens. Like, you're on the other end of that and you're like, oh, I guess it could happen to me someday. Yeah. Because you'd see all those parents like walking through malls or going somewhere, and when you didn't have kids, and you'd see them, you're like, how can't they keep their kids quiet, or how can't they do this with their kid? And then you get a kid, and you're like, I completely understand why they couldn't do that. Because do you want to have your child have a temper tantrum in the mall? Do you want to have this awful moment of like, we're having a timeout right here in the park? Like,
yeah, no, there's nothing you can do about it. Liberty's worst. And this is so funny because Cody and I are just world travelers. She's terrible on the plane. She's terrible. I've been traveling her since she was like 3-4 months old, just to get in the rhythm of it, get used to it. She hasn't. She's always that kid. She won't take her, no matter what time we fly. We can't fly during the nap because she just won't take it. So she'll wig out because she's tired. We can't fly not during the nap because she's too stimulated. And so she won't sit still. She wants to keep getting up and running about, and you can't do that. And I had a moment, I think it was a couple months ago. Got on the plane and I had her and someone stopped me. They were a wrestling fan. Oh yeah, I'm a fan, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and that must be Liberty. And then she showed out. And I was like, I bet you that guy is like, God dang. Like, he's like, Brandi just really doesn't have the reins on this up there, does she? It
Oh
was a mess.
God.
I was embarrassed the entire time, just wondering what is that guy thinking back there, hearing all of the screaming happening and, you know, me up and down and up and down. He's probably just like, wow, she just does not have it together here.
It's all about the bag of goldfish sometimes, you know? It's all about the, do I have the snack? Do I have the right food? Did I bring all the right toys? What toy do you want? You want the spatula from the kitchen? Will that keep you quiet? Oh, okay. The Mr. Spatula's here. Oh, Mr. Spatula. Yeah, it ends up being weird when they're like, I'm sorry, you want the ketchup as your toy? Oh, well, as long as you're not going to yell on the airplane. But you're right about the nap thing. It's like you try to, we'll go on the airplane at 5 a.m. We'll get them up before they wake up, throw them in the car. Oh no, there's a delay. Ah, crap. And then everything falls apart on your plan. But one final question. I know you said it earlier, but I did write it down, so let's throw it out there. Underneath Triple H, underneath Stephanie McMahon, Nick Khan, is there a moment? Could we see it when just you, like a macho man, Miss Elizabeth, who I have right there, a Cody, Brandi, coming down the aisle one time, WrestleMania, let's get it going. You can come from the little thing, you pop up, boop, do it together.
Oh, I will say I love my husband. I love everything that he's doing. I'm always there for him. However, if it doesn't make sense, I'm not in. And that's kind of happened a little bit. Because again, this is his journey right now. And you don't get a lot of shots at these things. So I just would leave it up to, it's all about, you know, moments and time and what makes sense and what should happen when, but he doesn't need me right now, for sure. That's for sure. He's doing plenty fine on his own. And if he decides that he does, it's a conversation. I am better at telling him what he does need in the mix. I mean, because the Nightmare family is extensive. You know, there was an Arn and there was a Brandi and there was you know, there were a lot of people. There's a dog, Pharaoh.
Yes.
Maybe Pharaoh before me. I feel like Pharaoh can do no wrong, and he only asks the presentation. But yeah, I'm very honest with him when I think that I'm not going to add anything to it. So.
Yeah. But again, I actually, now that you bring it up a little bit, was the frustration level there when he suddenly realized he was injured? Because obviously he came back for this journey to become champion, and then he gets hurt like that. I can't imagine that he's just like, oh, well, I got hurt. That's okay. Like,
oh, not at all. No, he was heartbroken. And it's been a long journey back. You know, it's been a lot of time that's gone by, and time sometimes is the enemy. All you have time to do is think. And, you know, I think that now that we're getting closer to being back, I think a lot of, you know, the anxieties and the frustrations are starting to melt away. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned that your wife is kind of like, when you get hurt, you're like, oh no, I'm the opposite. I don't sell anything. And that's super frustrating for people, because I was just like, you're fine. You're going to be fine. It's fine. It's surgery.
Put a Band-Aid on it. You're fine. Just put a Band-Aid. Yeah. You touched my arm.
Yeah, I'm just like, everything's fine. You're fine. Everything's fine. And that was driving him crazy. But I think that he just realizes that's my process for things. Everyone else can fall to pieces. I'm not going to, because I'm just that person that's going to stand strong through it all. Like, the world can be burning around me, and I'm like that meme. I'm the little dog in the middle that's going, this is fine.
You were the reason they made that meme. I knew it. I knew
good memes out there.
I love that meme. That's a good one. That is a good one. But yeah, it is so strange with my wife when I'm like, I think I broke my leg. You're fine. And then I got in a car crash, and like I wasn't like injured or anything, but I came back and I was covered in glass and stuff. I'm like, she's like, oh my god, okay. Oh my god, what's wrong? Like, what's wrong? Is my eye missing? Like, is my ear falling off? Like, why are you so concerned? Yeah. You're freaking me out here, lady. But I gotta say, I've had so much fun talking to you today on 10 Count, because again, like I said earlier, I scratched, I clawed, I made it here, I got you here. So thank you so much, Brandi Rhodes, for being here on 10 Count. It was a pleasure talking about family, friends, wrestling, your new podcast, Two Lies and One Truth. I'm pumped. You're pumped. We're all pumped. Again, Brandi, thank you so much for being here. And thank you for answering Kit Pat Middle School's question, because they're going to go buck wild when they get to hear that you talked about them. They're going to be so pumped. So again, thank you so much. I've been Steve Fault. She's been Brandi Rhodes. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.